One of the biggest challenges that organizations have is people feeling like their project has to be visible in the OKRs, or else they don't have the visibility that they need to be or feel important. But we all know the adage, if everything is important, nothing's important. So how do you decide what needs an OKR?
I'm Sara Lobkovich, strategy facilitator, OKR coach, and author of You Are a Strategist. I help organizations like yours turn strategy from paperwork and decks and docs into everyday action and results. Because what really matters is the impact you make, not just what's in your strategy docs.
What actually needs an OKR? The way that we've addressed this is by recognizing that every business has a big run the business responsibility. And that's where we have our known knowns. That's where our mandatories and milestones sit when completion is success. Different orgs call that different things. I call it delivery or run the business. That's one of the bubbles. And then the other bubble at the other end of the spectrum is really future-focused speculative stretch goals. If you've run into the 70-20-10 idea, in a lot of going operations, our run the businesses are 70, and then we've got this 10% of really growth-focused experimental stretch kind of initiative where just learning is success. We have so many unknowns and even unknown unknowns that it's really not possible to set goals with any degree of realistic certainty. What we're doing in our OKRs is setting the destination on the map, what we think we want to aim for in terms of what success might mean if everything goes right. And then in the middle, we've got the 20%. I usually think of that as the stuff that sits somewhere in between, but it's the stuff that isn't success just because it's done. So mere completion isn't success. There, we may still have stretch goals that are reflected in key results, but they're in the territory where we can hold them accountable to some kind of performance metrics. In the 10%, we're setting wildly speculative goals. We're setting key results where we're looking to achieve some sort of progress or improvement or success. There's still a stretch. We still have some unknowns, but we know more. We can kind of realistically set a key result there that isn't just an experiment. And so the way that this maps is that our OKRs are created about what we need progress and success criteria to aim for. So we create especially key result when mere completion isn't success. And then delivery is about what gets done when. Across the board here, we're going to have initiatives, we're going to have projects that have to get done by a date. And so delivery reflects that we have to have clarity about what gets done when. This is an example of the type of one sheet that sometimes clients use. Sometimes a team will have a bigger OKR box and a smaller mandatories and milestones box, and sometimes the opposite for different parts of the org. We can use objectives in both of those boxes, but the difference is in that objectives and key results domain, we're looking at measurable key results, where in delivery, we're looking at deadlines, milestones. I try to make clear that those then are committed or mandatory so that we can count on each other's commitments about what gets done when. And then what this unlocks. So there's a prioritization built into this in terms of what just has to get done, what needs to achieve an outcome. That's a clarity. That's not exactly prioritization, though. It creates two smaller pools to have to prioritize. But what we tend to find is that when we make this division, then there's more incentive for people to actually think about what they do that belongs or they want to see reflected in the OKR zone versus just having all of their effort be spent on activity and getting things done. So to increase capacity for OKR focus, we don't do this in the first cycle, but what we do in subsequent cycles is ask, what are we doing or devoting resources to in the run the business that really should be more efficient? How do we free up resources or create capacity with our current resources where we can reduce inefficiency. My particular focus here, I'm really focused on workforce retention. So for me, this isn't about workforce reduction, but what we can do is some pretty cool things with reskilling. So we're not thinking about cutting people. We're thinking about using people more efficiently and creating opportunity for people to grow and learn new skills. This tells the truth more about our performance when we move delivery with its subjective estimates of completion into that run the business space around our milestones. And we keep our 20 and 10 really focused on truly measurable outcome, where we're focused on facts, not feelings. We're focused on verifiable truths. That dynamic of increasing truth gives us more information to make unbiased prioritization decisions. I just wanted to share that with you so you can see an example of one of the models I work with. If you want to see these drawings full size, visit the No BS OKRs blog on saralobkovich.com. And if you want to go even deeper on how all of this fits together, I've got a free private podcast series on what actually makes OKRs work. That link is in the description. If you want to keep learning about No BS OKRs right here, right now, check out my No BS OKRs Fundamental series. It's linked right now on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.